This right here, guys, is gonna be fun. All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're gonna answer one of the questions I get most. Steve, you're a landscape architect, you know plants. How do I prune fill in the blank?
As you're cutting, you want to make sure you're at a slight angle just above the leaves. Make your cut nice and clean.
The thing with pruning is that you need to do it at a specific time of year, and right now happens to be gardenia time. This is a very large first love gardenia that is growing like crazy. We love good growth, but we need to make sure the growth is the way we want it. The thing about gardenias is you're going to want to prune them right after they finish their blooms of the year. They actually set their blooms quite early for next year, so you want to make sure you prune them early. They have plenty of time to set their new buds for the next year. We had some beautiful blooms, but they're all gone now. That's why we're here today on this blazing hot summer day. Let's get into it. You're going to want to get yourself the right tool. First tool you're going to need is this thing right here. Get yourself a good pair of scissors. The size difference of all of these depends on how big of a branch you're cutting. These will do just fine for a project like this. You're going to look for a couple different characteristics when pruning plants. Gardenias in particular, the moment you prune them, you'll cut one branch and then that branch is going to divide into two others. So if we look closely, you can see this was a branch that got pruned before, and you can see those two shoots that happened just below where the cut happened. That is the growth pattern that we need. That is the proper growth pattern we're looking for. That branch right there is going to have two shoots that come out and grow upwards. Having that in mind when you're pruning definitely helps, so that way you understand what's going to happen to the plant, how it's going to grow. So your first condition is understanding the characteristics of the plant. Second pattern is understanding that the growth that's already happened on that branch, does it look right? Is it following the pattern or not? So this is a good example of that improper growth. You look at the plant right here, you can see how it's growing, and then you have two shoots, but then we have this awkward growth going right here. This segment right here splits off, so we almost have four different directions there. So it's just not a proper pattern. That's the pattern we're looking for. Just a good, healthy split. Healthy growth, unhealthy growth, healthy growth, unhealthy growth, healthy growth, unhealthy growth. Don't want that. And the third characteristic, we have these shoots that are going very high. This is a massive shoot, so we want to cut that one back because the rest of the shoots have not caught up. Make sure that you cut just above the bud so that you don't alter the pattern too much, and then you want to just do a couple cuts and then step on back to make sure you're getting the overall shape that you're looking for. Cut, cut, step, cut, cut, step. Make sure you don't cut too much, because you can always cut, you can't uncut. See that guy right there? Huge growth. We like the rounded habit of the gardenia, and that's what we're trying to accentuate. Give us comments of any videos you'd like to see as well. I'm happy to prune any other plant that we've installed, teach you all how to properly prune that plant so that your landscapes can look amazing. Don't ever be afraid to prune a plant. It's definitely in the best interest of the plant. Otherwise, it'll grow wild. It's like you never getting a haircut. No one really wants to see that. Barring the heat, it's really not a bad way to spend your day. It's actually quite rewarding, and then see the following year's growth. You really get excited about the overall shape of the plant because you had a big part of that. You really just kind of pick a height. It's not necessarily right or wrong answer doing this. A lot of this is just subjective to your eye, and your eye will become better and better as you do this. These big stocky branches, you want to get rid of them because they're just going to keep shooting up so high. You're going to lose that dense growth pattern that we want. Oh, here's a great example of some of that mutant growth we were talking about. So look at this guy. See that? That is just chaos. This is not good. Again, we want growth that looks like that. We don't want plants covering too much of the ground because they're just dragging and making contact with this rock down here. It'll trap air underneath the plant, and you need airflow inside the plant. Otherwise, it's just dark and humid. And do you know what grows in places that are dark and humid? 3, 2, 1. Mold. Yep, you're right. We don't want mold to grow inside of the branches. We've been training these gardenias for quite a while. They were like 7-gallon plants when they first went in, so you can imagine how much growth has happened. Big branches you can cut down pretty far because they are healthy branches. You know they're going to shoot out new shoots, and if you cut them back far enough, they'll be well within the plants. So when it shoots those plants again, you're going to encourage that dense growth habit. We love you guys, and we always like to answer y'all's questions so y'all can become plant experts too. Sometimes you can wear gloves, but gardenias are soft, so you don't have to wear gloves.
Another useful tip, applies more to trees, but in pruning in general, is you never want branches that are growing down towards the ground, growing back inwards towards the plant. When you prune, it's going to look a little empty, and then maybe it might look a little awkward, but you have to envision how the new growth is going to look. So you want to make sure you cut it down about 75% so that you leave that 25% of new growth to just fill in those gaps, and again, just kind of bounce back in a dense manner. It takes a little practice. You probably will mess up, and that's okay. I messed up plenty of times. Make sure you don't cut it back too much. And of course, you want to cut any dead or damaged branch. You can imagine there's a set amount of energy that a plant has to grow and to distribute to all its members. So if you properly cut it back, then that means it's going to use more energy on less plant matter, which means a lot healthier growth for the branches that are left. So the more you prune, you'll encourage a lot more blooms next year because it doesn't have as many branches to have to distribute all that energy to. This year it looks spectacular. I think you saw those pictures on our post. If not, you can find them on our Instagram. Those blooms turned out beautifully. We're so excited for next year again. Always make sure you know enough about your plant before you prune it. There's also nothing wrong with cutting a branch back a little further after you cut it. It's fine. Don't think about it too much. Hey, is there a plant that I could prune that take a little margin of error? Get a chaff tree and have a couple rounds of that. Chaff trees you can prune pretty much to the ground and it'll grow right back. I think it looks pretty good. It's nice rounded, cut back any random shoots, still pretty full. Lifted it off the ground. There you go, guys. So I hope y'all liked the video. That is pretty much the basic tips and tricks on how to prune a gardenia. Again, this is our first love gardenia. It is a bigger variety. It was, when I got to it, about as tall as me. It's definitely a bigger plant, but beautiful, one of our favorites. Definitely a showstopper. Feel free to comment if you have any other videos that you guys would like to see. We'll have a lot of videos during the later end of winter time, once it's time to prune a lot of the trees. Early spring, we got a couple other plants that we get pruned around that time. So the Vitex, that'll be a great video. Looking pretty good on our end, so I think this guy's done. That's it for our gardenia video. Hope y'all liked it. Thanks for tuning in. Like and share, follow. Let us know if there's anything else you guys want to see. Get a little before and after shot.